Hello and welcome to this course. In this course, I will be giving you a practical approach to variables and data types using Python. Now, variables are one of the most fundamental concepts that exist in any programming languages out there. Now, variables are used to store data temporarily in a computer's memory location. So before getting started with variables, I'll be using an IDE called PyCharm, which is from JetBrains. Now it's a good to go IDE for beginners. Feel free to use any of the text editor you want or any of the code editor you want, like Visual Studio Code, or you can say Visual Studio or Sublime Text. Alright, feel free to use any of the favorite code editors you want. And again, I will be using PyCharm for in this whole tutorial. Alright, so let's jump into PyCharm. So here is my PyCharm window, and which I have already created a project named as tutorial, which consists a file named as 01.py. So I have given the file name like some random name. So let me just give you an example how a variable works in Python. All right. So let me declare a variable named as a, which have a value of 10. All right. So here when will the Python interpreter will execute this code, it will allocate some memory and then it will store number 10 in that memory and finally attach this a label to the memory location. Okay, so if you want to just visualize the output of this program, you can just type as print and a and press shift plus F10. You can see the output as 10. Alright, so here in with variables in Python, you can also I can also show you another thing, that is, if I want to reset the value of a to 20 and again to 30 and again to 40 and so on. So finally, when the Python interpreter will execute this code, it will again go line by line. It will first see that the value of a is set to 10. Again, the value of a is reset to 20, then reset to 30, and then finally then reset to 40. So it will allocate some memory to and it will store the value of a as 40 in that memory location and add a label as a. So if we hit shift F10 to run this program, you can see the output is 40. Alright, so this was all about variables. You can see variables are of different type. So one of them is like boolean variable, or you can say a string variable, and I can also just show you all of them right now. All right, so I can say is old equals true. Now Python is quite a case sensitive programming languages, and my recommendation, if you want to start a variable name, so I would recommend you to start a variable name with a lowercase letter, like I have started as is code. And before declaring a boolean variable, like a boolean value of either true or false, T, the first letter of the boolean value must be an uppercase letter as T in true. Alright, so if you are using a T as a lowercase letter, it will throw you an error. So let me show you. You can now see there's an underline for under true. It's saying that there is a name error. If I would run it, you can see there is it's saying that name true is not defined. Okay, so going for the data types are of like they have many kinds of data types. So there is a numeric data type, there is a string data type, and there is a boolean value data type, and then you can say lists, tuples, and set and dictionaries. So we will be covering all of them in this particular video, but I'll be not going deep into every data type. Like a list have some advanced functions and some advanced topics of a list. Same in the case of dictionary list. you can say tuples and set. Okay, so I'll be just traveling on the surface. All right, so let us start with numeric data type. All right, here you can say that numeric data type is divided into three parts, like it have integer data type, floating point data type, and a complex number data type. All right, so first of all, integer data type. All right, we can just simply just again just declare a variable as num and which have a value of 45. Now this num variable is an integer data type. Now Python just automatically determines that yes, this is an integer data type. So if you want to be sure that yes, it's an integer data type, now you can see print, sorry for the typo, print type. Type is a function for knowing what type of data type it holds. All right, and you can parenthesis and type now. Hit shift F10 and you can say it's a int. All right, second, we can see there's another data type that is called double data type. All right, so this variable that is num equals, instead of 45 I would say 45.58. Now in this number 5 and 8 are separated from 45 with the help of a decimal point. Now this kind of representation of a number separating with a decimal point is called a double data type. In other programming languages like Java, C or C++, I'm sorry, it's my mistake. In Python, it's called a floating point data type. All right. Now, if I would run this, I would say it's a float. All right. So this variable num is a float. Third one is called a complex number data type. Okay, so complex number data type holds one integer or either integer or a floating point number with addition to a complex number part. That means if you have, let me just show you how a complex number is declared in Python. So 45.58, maybe it's a floating point number or it's simply an integer, then plus 56 or you can say 5j. So j is actually a complex number that is under root minus 1. So you can, if I would run it, shift plus F10, it would say me that this file is like this variable num holds a data type, a complex number data type. All right. Now this was all about the numeric data type and their way of representation in Python. So let me just comment this line. Okay, so for commenting in PyCharm, I would say the shortcut is Control plus forward slash in your keyboard. So select all these lines and hit Control plus forward slash. It will comment this up. All right. So next, we would go for string data type. Now, string is basically sequences of characters that are written within a single quote, or you can say double quote, or triple quotes in Python, which is called docstrings. All right. So let me just show you one example. Let's say name is equals let's say Frankie. All right. So Frankie is a name, and so the Frankie is a string. So name is a string variable which have a value of Frankie, which is represented within two double quote. All right. So if I would run it as print name, and again I would print type and name, so it'll be like shift F10. It's a the output is Frankie and name is a string. Alright, so str represents a string. Okay, so you can also like I can there's another concept of string like in Python which is called formatted strings. Now formatted strings are like they're the same as we declare a string as like names is equals Frankie. Okay, so instead of just writing over here that my name is, and we would concatenate the string over here. So instead of doing this one we can use you can say a method called formatted strings, which is like giving, which is preceded by an f over here. Okay, so before, let me just show you again, f and then double quote. All right, so my name is, within curly braces you can use names, this is name. All right, okay, so this will give you an output as my name is Frankie. Okay, this is the way you use formatted strings in Python. It's called formatted strings. All right, so this was a basic description about string data type. And okay, then I was saying about the concept called dog strings. So dog strings are quite helpful in Python if you are just writing some more lines of code, like 5 to 600 lines of code, and you have some certain rules that should be followed for executing the program. So you can use something like docstrings, which is available in Python. Now these are represented by triple quote. If you hit enter, you can see these are called docstrings. So you can say that this you can write over anything like this code can be executed in PyCharm. Okay. So if anyone will look at your code, and it'll he will come along these docstrings and just make sure that yes, that this code can be executed inside PyCharm. So this was like I'm not covered the way the docstrings can be represented in code. So the time I will be covering my first project, which is along this tutorial, I'll be using docstrings, so you can visualize over there. All right. So now let's comment it up. Right. Now the next data type holds as lists. Okay. Let me just comment it. Now lists are like quite similar to arrays in the programming languages like Java, C or C++. They have a concept called arrays, in which is like helpful for storing like a number of data around, like a number of strings, a number of integers, a number of double values, a floating point. So in Python we can also use lists. We can use the term there in Python. The arrays and the concept of array is not there, but it's called as lists. So for representing a list, we can use as name equals within square braces. We can say Frankie, Tom, Bill, Joe. Okay, so this is a list of names which consist of a name called Frankie, Tom, Bill, and Joe. All right. If I would just want to print the list in my terminal window, I would just simply write print names and hit Shift F10. You can see there's a list declaring as there's consist of 4 names, which is called Frankie, Tom, Bill, and Joe. So if I want to just uh, see what's in the last of the towards the last of the list. I will just say that print names dot pop. Okay, if I would say pop, it would say okay. So pop is used to visualize what's in the last towards the last term of the list. So in my list, the last name is Joe. So you can see Joe is printed over here. All right. Now this was all about declaring list and the way of representation a list, which is like quite different from arrays in other programming languages. Now it's time to go for tuples. Now, tuples are something that is quite useful in Python for like I would say you can say that a slash comma b equals 1 and 3. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so I would say a equals 1 and 3, and I would say print type a and print a. If I were to shift that 10, so okay, so let me just comment it up and again shift that 10. You can see the class is tuple, that means a is a tuple and which holds a value of tuple as 1 3. So tuples are used to represent the number of elements that you can say a holds. All right, so tuples are not mutable, so that means you can't add any elements to a tuple after its declaration, but in case of list you can add number of elements or you can delete number of elements, all right, in a list. So in a tuple it's not permitted by Python. All right, so comment it. And the last one is called a dictionary. All right. Okay, there's another data type called a set. All right. So set is like you can say a heterogeneous data type which can consist number of data type within one set. Like if I would um, say that names and numbers, just a random name to a set, can consist of name as Frankie and number as 45, again names as Bill, again a floating point number as 56.7, and so on, like a 4 plus 8 and j, that is a complex number. All right, so these are called set, which is a heterogeneous data type in Python which can consist of any data type within it. All right, so set are also quite useful in Python for representing representation of this like type of elements. So these are also, I am not sure about, I'm sorry, I'm not sure about this, like if we can mutate this. No, sets are like immutable in Python. So remember that tuples and set, it is not called as set, it sets. All right, so tuples and sets are immutable but list is mutable. All right, now coming to dictionary, which is our last data type in this video. Now dictionary is something that is like a key value pair. So dictionary are in pairs. These pairs are called key value pairs. Now in dictionary we have a key and the key have a value. That means it just have a pair. So let me just show you how to represent a dictionary. I would say country. All right, which have so dictionary are represented by using curly braces as we are using in sets. So country equals within curly braces you can write France, which have a value of Paris. That means the capital of France is Paris. Now France is the key and Paris is the value of the key, that is Paris is the capital of France. if I would say that print type, so we will know what type of data type that country is. So type country and print country itself. Okay, so let me just comment this up and run it. You can see it's a class named as dict. So dict is a short form for dictionary, which is in Python, and you can see the output as France colon Paris. So this is a dictionary. All right. Okay, so this was a video which covers some brief introduction to variables and data types in Python. Uh, we have been using this IDE in this video, which is also a good IDE which contains some good intelligence works which can just auto complete your code, so you don't have to write the whole name of the variable is so long as like after the random name that is like names and numbers. So you don't have to write names and numbers. I want to show you the how the intelligence works in Python. Let's say print, just type NA. It will be showing that names and numbers. Just hit tab, it's auto complete the name of the variable. So this is how the intelligence work in Python, which I like the most. Okay, talks about. And in this video it was a brief introduction about variables and data types. So in my next video I'll be showing you how to take user input from the user using the Python programming languages. So we'll be also using this IDE only. So for all tutorials I will be using this IDE which is called PyCharm. Alright, so if you like this video, hit the like button, and thank you for watching. See you in the next video.